So recently I met a very interesting man and woman. They were couples anyway, not really met anyway. I just read about them in a book. And I should say that this was actually very frustrating because it was annoying. What part actually stood out to you and made you kind of, annoyed or happy?
Happy.
How could you have it? One?
The woman specifically, well, I'm not just saying that because I am a man, okay? But you understand exactly why I'm saying that when we are done with this discussion.
I still feel like it's not in our place to call that. That part shocked me so much. I highlighted it.
And for context sake, let me just give you the whole context. So this woman was from a poor background, allegedly. Well, it's just like this, the way every one of us are from poor backgrounds.
How many of you?
She claimed to be poor and she was looking for someone to sweep her off her feet, a man to save her like a superhero, to cure her burdens and take it all away like he's Jesus Christ, I guess. Now she met a man, but she had issues, lots of issues in her life. But one prominent issue she had was actually money spending, managing money and all that in marriage. And this is as deep as it goes because that issue actually caused the death of the financial sector in her marriage life. But what was actually really frustrating for me was the fact that the man did not really do much.
Have we started this part?
Kai.
Or we are still coming to this part? Like that particular place of living or staying or we are just trying to, because I have a lot to say.
He didn't really do anything. I don't know if it was because of love, as people say, I love my wife, I can't do anything for my wife. But now, I don't think I'm that nigga. No offense. I do not think I will sit down, watch my lovely wife, who I love with all my life, still ruin our lives, because I love our lives too, if you get what I mean. But anyways, we decided to kind of discuss this because it was actually frustrating and I just had to hear from other people. So I invited these guys to actually have a discussion, kind of a discussion, just in case I was, maybe being unreasonable in my thoughts.
Okay.
Hold on, before you sit down, we have a culture here. I have to ask you a question. All right, so if money was a person, what kind of relationship would you say you have with money?
Friends with benefits. And now, friends with benefits kinds of relationship, no feelings, no emotions.
Just vibes. At the end of this, we want to actually hear from you about what the man could have done or what the lady could have done to, fix things and to make sure that the marriage did not reach the financial crisis it reached. All right. If money was a person, what kind of relationship would you say you have with money?
Friendship, basically.
Friendship? Yeah. Just friends?
Friends.
Limao.
So if money was a person, like a beautiful damsel, what kind of relationship would you say?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What kind of relationship would you say you had with money?
Let me sit down.
No.
I would say friendship.
Friendship, just friends.
Yeah. You have to treat money right for it to stay with you. Just as you have to show yourself friendly for a friend to stay with you.
Okay, so let's start from there. When you say friendship, you mean when you are friends with money, money comes to you as friends? Really?
Yeah.
You also said friendship. What do you mean by friendship?
A wise man, or should I say a sage, once said, when you place value on money, you open doors to money coming to you. You see, if you look at, there's a way a rich man is going to handle money into his wallet, rather than a man that does not have money at all. You can just squeeze the money and put it in the wallet.
So you're saying we should be friends with money?
Basically. And just like I'm seconding his own perspective in that when you begin to place a value on money, there's a way it appreciates.
Okay, valid. What do you think, Mr. Shell?
Friends, they betray, So now, no.
You say be friends, they betray.
Yes, now you feel put value for friendship,
Money
normal,
can
and at the end of the
betray.
day, stab in the back.
So by the way, Shion said friends with benefits, which means he just wants to use money. After using money, he disposes of it, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
We'll definitely find
That's
it
what
in
it
this
meant.
book.
That's what it meant.
Don't get me wrong.
So what the heck do you
Friends
mean?
with benefit relationship is mutual using.
You mean money too will use you.
Use you.
Wait. When you see money as a tool to use, basically, and I feel like money comes into fulfillment when being used, so that makes it mutual. Do you understand? Nothing more than that. All this friendship now, feelings for, I go to catch feelings for money, like.
All right. Let's move on. We'll be talking about money, but the main issue we are actually here to discuss is actually centering around money anyway. We took up a book and we decided to read, right? Chapter 1 of that book.
Yep.
And as you can see, or as you can all say, chapter 1 of the book has actually been a lot. We're all men. What would you say to that? How was chapter 1? I'll start from Moses. How was chapter 1? Just in one word.
Chapter 1 basically was annoying, provocative, disturbing, and
Oga,
We say one word.
one word.
Given us 25.
annoying.
Waiting with the rest of us
annoying.
won't talk.
Russian.
Annoying, I won't actually talk. I promise you, annoying.
Praise.
Emotionally wrecking.
Anyways, Mary Hunt, if you are seeing this, you look like you annoyed a lot of people here. You provoked us. Actually, it was very frustrating, sincerely. All right, so in the book, we can see that Mary Hunt actually brought her marriage to its needs financially anyway. We'll be discussing what transpired, how that happened, and, what led to that. And that's what we're actually here to discuss as youth, because we're all youth. We are trying to figure out our lives. We are not married.
Nope.
Or else something has changed before before now.
Nah.
Okay, so we're not married. We are trying to, find the right partner, like Mary Hunt's one, right?
Wait,
Yep.
wait till you mean find right partner, bro. Because I did question that statement.
Wait, I didn't even
They
get
say, oh, yeah, now find right. Now you know it's way lost. Where they find.
What do you mean by
All right, so we're here to discuss the story, just like we've said. And here's our first question. So what part of Mary Hunt's story actually kind of made you pause while reading and kind of felt closest to you? Give you this kind of reaction of, what's going on? Let's start with Shion.
The part that actually shocked me the most was when, after the whole thing had happened, the issue had escalated and they are literally done for. And she said that, what's the name of Harold and I think that's the name of her husband.
Yeah.
Harold and I made a big mistake. Yes, of course, the end of that sentence is, but I was the one that single-handedly brought us to this financial ruin. And I feel like, it seems to me like if you make a deal with the devil,
Yeah.
and then how would I explain it? And then you eventually get into problem, and now you are complaining. That does not make sense. It's supposed to be reversed. What I meant by that is that the husband literally is supposed to stand his ground. And in this case, for not standing his ground, the wife still sees that fault, despite the fact that she is literally the one that caused the entire issue. Do you understand? So it's like what the husband permitted to happen is being blamed for. I don't know if you see it like that. So that it shocked me when she first admitted, yes, I caused this, and is also at fault as well. Meanwhile, back in the story for context purposes, she was telling her husband, you need to desire more, you need to have more, you need to drive more, like pushing. When women nag, bro, guys can. I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
do you understand?
Women
So
can be quite convincing, and after they kind of push
Then they blame you.
Then they blame me. That's what you're trying to say, right?
yes, it shocked me.
Would you agree with that praise? Would you think women are actually, when they nag, they kind of push you and push you and push you? And how would you actually relate that to Harold's story or Marianne's story?
I actually hold a contrary view, in my own opinion, being that I felt that Harold, being a man, could have stood his ground and said, nah, I ain't living a 16 years of experience job to an unknown area. I mean, I don't know. I felt it could have been more rigid. It could have been more firm to stand and say no. So, in my own opinion, I feel he was the author of his own failure, not his wife.
Okay. So you feel, he could have just stood his ground, made the decisions as a man in the home, right? I can see Sean's eyes bulging.
Yeah, it's quite boiling.
Do you have a contrary view?
Please, let's move on.
All right, let's move on to Moses before we come back to Sean. What part actually stood out to you and made you kind of, annoyed or happy?
Happy.
So no part made you happy.
How could you have been happy with chapter
Like you
1?
made quite a lot of things, but I'll just pick one. There was a place whereby she was saying something about she was amazed that her husband was not too strict or too firm. I can't remember the word vividly. The way she was expecting him to be. So which means that there was an expectation in her mind. She was expecting, okay, if this guy is going to permit this, it's going to be to this extent, not beyond this. But, when you don't put boundaries to things, there's a way people they will shift you a bit. When they see that you don't talk, they will go further until they push you totally to the wall. So that's when it was pushed totally to the wall, then he began to react. That was when his bank account was, when the credit card was they were already going into overdrafts and stuff like that. So at that point, he I don't know, it was as if they released the.
You feel like he could have reacted earlier, not waiting
till that point, because it's
That's exactly what I said.
It's very annoying.
He was the
because
author of his own
I
failure.
feel he said something earlier. He was saying that she said that both of them were involved in it, but it's just that she was basically squared in it. But actually, both of them were actually involved in it, because I feel that if one party has not come into an understanding of something, it should not be the two of them that two wrongs can never make a right. Yeah. So if there's a wrong and there's a right, I feel that, okay, as time goes on, the right should be able to bring the wrong into a knowledge of what the right thing is.
Right,
but
so
when
you feel like the right and wrong were just kind of...
they were not even right wrong. I feel both of them were wrong.
Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. Sean, do you have anything to say concerning all that?
Nope.
Why? I feel like asking you why. It looks like you have a lot.
I'm not disputing the fact that Harold is to be blamed.
Yeah.
Like I said, the shocking part to me is the fact that she still had the guts to say that even though I and Harold, made a big mistake.
Yeah.
Like, I and Harold made a big mistake.
When it felt like she was...
I still believe that, yes, Harold made a mistake, but I still feel like it's not in her place to call that.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes, we'll come and pounce on Harold, like we will bounce on him very well. But for the time being, that part shocked me so much. I highlighted it.
So he kind of felt annoying that a woman will kind of take actions and now begin to blame her husband.
Do you understand?
Later. I think it's something that's actually rampant nowadays anyway. I hope I don't get
You see a child. You see.
That's my cue.
Well, for context sake, so Mary Hunt was, she had this idea in her head of, wanting to be rich, and it just kind of took over her mentality and all that. So she was looking for a man that would take her away from poverty, and luckily for her, she found a man who was a bank manager. Story short, she spent money, kept on spending money, just wasted the money on nothing. Basically nothing, right?
I would not call it nothing, but on what is not valuable or things that like
Definition of what is not valuable is
It's
actually
nothing. It felt like nothing.
but
at the end of the day.
nothing looks okay.
It's nothing, but
Well, actually, I get the
Because
point.
looking at it, if you say nothing, they add possessions.
like what? In all of the 30 years of recovery, why did they not sell the possessions to gather money back? Think about it.
Okay, were you telling me
You should
that?
have fought
Were you telling me that they did
Actually,
not have
well.
a clothes or did not have some maybe appliances, stuff like that?
So it will still take them 13 years. Like the amount of money they spent with the overdraft.
No, the issue here is that we can say that the amounts they were owing was way beyond what they had. To the extent that, in fact, if they sold everything they had, it would still not be enough to cover up for the debts in which they held. And the reason for that was because they had to borrow much more from other people too, because they saw that this was a good opportunity in which they could fly into and make double or times 10 exits.
Yeah, so they were looking for a fast way out. Or actually, not they.
that.
She was looking for a fast way out because
Let's be specific.
exactly.
Thank you.
So
It was actually day.
It is
it was
there.
they.
I would
No,
not say
no. I disagree. This is an Adam and Eve situation.
Oh,
Yeah, I like where you went.
that's
The book says
Yeah.
that the man, I think it had something to do with his clients in the bank,
Yeah.
came to offer. The man was not looking to quit or was not looking to even branch into it. The woman embodied this opportunity.
Well, hold on. You now imagine this. The man was actually a bank manager, right?
Yes.
Well, it's not wrong to actually, bring sort of issues or opportunities to his wife at home, because I'm sure she was not with him
When that
when
happened.
the opportunity came, but he brought it to her,
I
right?
actually think she met those guys.
no. There was they had a good connection, and that was through her husband. They could not have
definitely.
gotten a contact without
Definitely.
her husband.
Yeah, but
So-
she got to know them. I mean,
Yeah.
she got to speak to them.
with them, and they became
became
friends.
They became friends, and she, kind of just wanted to take the opportunity to make fast cash. And she advised her husband to leave a 16-year.
Well, have we started this part?
Kai.
Or we are still coming to this part? Like this part, that particular
16-year job.
that particular place of living or staying or
Yeah, I want to ask a question. Let's start with Praise. Praise, if your wife asks you to leave a yes or no, please. If your wife asks you to leave a 16-year job with, of course, it looked real, yes or no? It actually looked real.
It looked promising.
I'm going
It
to say
looked
something
promising.
about it looking real and promising, but ask your question first.
So if she asks you to leave a 16-year job, something you've worked on all your life and you are very good at because you are a bank manager, like meaning that you're actually at a particular position where you are respected, what would you do? Would you leave, yes or no?
Honestly, no.
Remember, it's for an opportunity that actually looks very good.
Honestly, no.
Sharon, what would you do? Would you leave, yes or no?
Actually, without the influence of my wife, based on the kind of personality I have, I believe that I have, to be honest, no. Can I give a reason for that very briefly?
Not yet. We're coming back to
okay.
that. Moses, would you leave? Tell us why.
for me, I feel I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the job offer was like. But for me, I feel that rather than leaving, why couldn't he just try to run the two? Because I feel it's like an investment. It's not that, it's not demanding. There are people there running this thing already. All they need from me is your money. You can continue your work.
All right, okay. Let's make it tougher now. If you could not run the two together, what would you do? It was either leave or stay.
For me, I will need to have like a full background knowledge of what I'm going into is like, and if I see that it's not promising, or the percentage of profits or return in investment ROI is going to be like is low. I won't.
Okay, fair enough. Sean,
I feel like what you said about the background check and all of that, I think is very much correct, because that drive of wanting to have more, wanting to become more, and the pressure from the wife may have blinded the eyes of them, the husband especially, looking more. Because I mean, a bank manager with 16 years of experience should know better when it comes to embracing opportunities. But when there's that pressure, which is why you have to be emotionally stable, but no be now.
all right, Praise, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, I'll start like this. Have you ever been scammed before?
I mean, we are Nigerians, sorry, but even in the minute ways,
You will realize that if you are going to be scammed, it's going to come from a place of the greed that you have in your heart already. The truth of the matter is, anything that promises you that you'll become a millionaire in the next 2 months is either not long term or is a scam. Yeah. So, look, just going back to what Moses said, those are the things you check, those are the indices you check out. Is this thing promising me some kind of get rich quick scheme? If that's what it's giving you, then you better run with your canvas.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah. All right, so we've looked at the issues Mary Hunt actually had, and we noticed that they actually stemmed from the past before even when she got married. They followed her into marriage. So what would you say were the major causes or the root causes of those issues?
While studying the book, I discovered that she had a mindset issue first. In the beginning, she said something that she made up her mind that she was not going to be as poor as her family. And she emphasized the fact that it was her perspective that her family was poor. And why was that? That was because they could not afford to buy things recklessly. So she had a mindset issue, which also led to a value system problem. She felt that our net worth was based on, or our worth, let me remove the net so that I will not sound like I'm still talking money. She felt like our worth was dependent on how much she could swipe the cards at will when she wants to buy something. And it spanned to her thinking that if she actually had a lot of money, she wouldn't have problems swiping the card. And the truth of the matter is that no matter how much you have in this life, it will still finish if you don't have a strategic way to grow finance. The truth is, finance is either growing or depreciating. There's nothing like it's static. Even the one you saved, a time will come that you still have to spend it, and when you spend it, it depreciates. So if you are not building systems to grow your finance, and you're just thinking that if you have plenty money somewhere, it will never finish, you are just joking. So mindset can reduce people to debt. If someone you have 1 million tomorrow you're already in debt, is basically because your mindset is not bogus enough for what you are dreaming of. So you have to attack your mind with the right set of information, with the right set of values before you can now think of making progress.
Yes, the kind of mindset she developed from her situation growing up is the main issue. Apparently, although he said something, he said, I think he mentioned you can have 1 million today and tomorrow based on mindsets. I think some entrepreneurs would disagree with you because there's this meme that having 1 million today and you sending 500 naira from your UBA to your OPay just so that I can complete 1K. You understand to it. But yeah, so I think two things now. She comes from a poor background, and I believe that there are two things that poverty can actually do to the mind. Number one, it can either drive your mindset to be seriously determined not to be poor,
Yeah.
or drive your mindset to be seriously determined not to look poor. Now, there are two different things, not to be poor and not to look poor. Not to be poor is you taking some actionable steps, realistic expectations, setting targets and goals, and actually developing, progressing. But not to look poor is to do everything within your means, not even within your means, outside of your means, not by your power, you understand, to look rich. Now, it's different. Do you understand? So it's a mindset thing, and of course, we know the kind of mindset that she got from this situation. So that's all I have to say.
One thing I noticed is that the mindset was wrong because one, she didn't want to understand how it was going to happen, and she felt that a change of status, in quotes, marriage, was a way of leveling up into becoming what she wants to become. So, more or less, as if she's putting all her mind is that, okay, this guy that is coming is going to be the one that is going to change my story. Because at some point in the book, she was like, okay, I know that I've been in debts, there have been overdraft, but now me going into marriage is going to be like a clean slate. I'm going to start over again and stuff like that. So that alone, it's like when someone is going into marriage with that kind of mentality, it's really dangerous and hazardous, which is
Putting a lot of tension on your partner, for
actually
instance.
because I feel that in fact if the other party has something in mind, like has a goal, has ambition, and you are coming with that, it's going to drag, or should I say, it's going to drag the plan, or what the vision that the partner has in mind at that moment. It's going to take like a lot of work that both has to put into changing their mindset. That's even if the other party is willing to succumb to change.
Yeah.
I think that even makes sense because the idea of being a partner is to actually, as in partnership anyway. Exactly. So you're supposed to like complement each other, but now you're seeing a partner or your partner as an escape plan, escape route. So from something that you could not achieve, and that's actually a very big problem. And it's funny because most days, I mean, in our everyday life now, we actually see people with this kind of mindset, even though they may not actually notice it right now. Then it is when it's now in marriage or when they're at rock bottom, like Mary Hunt, that they now notice and now realize. Because she actually narrated the story when she was, everything had spoiled. That's when she now realized that, oh, this is what happened. All right, so that leads us to the next question, actually. How do we actually know that we are not another Mary Hunt? Okay? How do we know we are not Mary Hunt? Now, Mary Hunt in the sense that we are not just people living lives expecting somebody to come and save us from something we could not, figure out in life. Yet, sometimes they say my partner should complement my wrongs. Some people say my partner should complement my wrongs. My partner should be able to fix a particular section of my life, my weaknesses and all that. So how do we actually know we are not another Mary Hunt? Who wants to go first? This is a free flow. Who wants to go first?
In this part of the world where we come from, considering our gender,
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the side of Mary Hunt that is depending on the partner now, to bail her out, clean slate, you understand? It's not exactly realistic for us to see ourselves as Mary Hunt in that sense, because traditionally we were sort of wired to, be the provider, if we're being factual, and as men now. But in terms of the spending, how she bought things, how she mismanaged money, or how she felt like since money is coming, because in the book we could see that there were some times that when money is coming, the money has not come yet, she already has it, she has spent it, finished in her head, and low-key, in this our generation, a lot of times you will be like, oh, this money, this salary that has not entered, it has already finished. Literally, that's a tiny bit of Mary Hunt, because we're like, this salary is going here, is good. We have dissected it into 24 different places, and it has not even come. So what happens when the salary does not even come? Some that does not have self-control might be pushed to borrow just to meet up for those things that they've, outlined.
Yeah.
So how do we not know? I think we already know.
There are a lot of us actually Mary Hunts.
I won't lie to you, a lot of us.
Various,
maybe the minimal version, you understand?
Yeah.
Especially in spending. So, but in terms of the other parts where we see our partners as the one that will bail us out as men, I don't think that's realistic to think of ourselves as Mary Hunt. However, as women as well, I don't think it should be realistic for you to see your partner in that area. At most, you can see your partner as somebody that will support you. You understand? Somebody that would be your support system, be there for you to help you out to achieve your goals and your dreams, to be able to spend money the way you want, literally, you understand? But not as somebody that would pick you up
and just put you in a position where you want to be.
It involves two people.
Okay, there's this saying that we have that it is not too late to start again. I feel like that statement is not complete. It should be a conditional statement that it is not too late to start again if you have figured out what went wrong. Because if you keep starting again and keep putting the same input, you keep ending up at the same destination. So the way you can know that you are another Mary Hunt in part 1 or in chapter 1 before she comes for us is that there are many things actually, and I can't mention it all. Check your debt. How often do you plunge into debt? How far can you go to look? Because you mentioned something about you wanting to actually get out of poverty and you wanting to just look rich. So how far can you go to look rich? Because it looked like there was this joy she was getting from swiping the card. So if you just want to look rich, you just want to feel good that, okay, I have money, you are already tending towards that path. Definitely in this world of today, if you want to be wealthy, you have to look beyond what's it called now? Wanting to look rich. You have to get to a point where you are trying to figure out how to solve a problem. There's no other way to be rich than to solve it. Even if it's book you want to read, to become a doctor, you have to solve a problem. To become a professor, you have to solve a problem. To earn a Nobel Prize, you have to solve a problem. So no matter wherever you want to function and earn your wealth, you have to solve a problem. So if you are not thinking of how, you're only thinking of what it feels like to be wealthy, you are already on your pathway
Yeah,
to
yeah,
your own
chapter
thing.
one. Chapter
Okay,
one,
chapter
Mary
one.
Hunt. Yeah, Moses, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I have something to add, but I don't know. I don't know if this quote exists, but as I was seated here, I was just trying to cook it. If you fail to undergo the process, you will either end up being forcefully processed or being easily burnt out.
Be me dey there.
I do not understand, but explain. Go on.
So looking at Mary Hunt's story,
Okay.
she, she desired this thing, but she desired it from your own perspective. I don't want the same life that my parents lived, or I want something different. But she saw it from another light that I myself, I can do this. In fact, if I can't do it completely, I should be able to at least do like 50% of it before even getting into marriage. And the marriage part would be just like a fueling, of that which you yourself you have initiated from the very start.
I think
But she only saw marriage as an opportunity to become rich. Not, and I think if I remember very well, there was a place that she didn't want to know how, and how is basically the process
Yeah.
of a product. How was this thing? How did this?
she just
How was
looked at the
this?
results.
It was more or less like a free ticket. Like let me just like an awoof. Let me use that word.
Yeah.
So there's a saying which goes that something that you obtain freely, you might not value it that much. Something you need you labored for, there is a way you value it. There is a way you undo it. You don't just do it anyhow. So I felt uh, that foundational facts in which she liked because she didn't want to know the process, she just wanted it.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
it really had a great, should I say, negative impact in the beginning of their marriage.
Yeah.
But later, if you remember, towards the end of chapter 1, when everything began to take shape, take the proper form, then she began to see the importance of this. That, okay, this is how this should be. The pace of submission, because I know there was a time that she was basically the one in control of the home,
Good part.
and that was why some decision, I don't know what she irrational decision were made at some particular points, and that was because she herself she had a personal interest, not thinking about the other party. Now the goal was that I just wanted to.
All right, so that was a beautiful session with some of my friends. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you actually like and subscribe so you can actually follow up with the next few videos we'll be creating. But also, we would like to hear what you guys think. Do you think Mary Hunt was just being herself and, spending her husband's money or spending her partner's money rather, just like some men do and some women actually do? Do you think that was an issue? And also, on the part of Harold, who was her husband, do you feel he was right to act the way he acted, or do you feel he could have done better? Why do you think Harold stayed throughout the marriage? Because many of us nowadays, with the rate of divorce and all, you can be sure that if something like that actually happens in a marriage, it is probably going to lead to divorce. But why do you think Harold stayed even till the depth of the marriage, to the point where Mary Hunt now began to narrate the story? So we'd like to hear what you guys think, all right? Maybe it might be actually enlightening to us, and we might actually decide to discuss those questions or comments in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.